God is so much fun. Whether we're talking man to man or whether we're talking son to son, 'cause he's my best friend.
Welcome to the Masculine Journey. Today we are live from boot camp. Aren't we, Sam?
We are. This is one of my favorite shows of the year.
It is me too, because we have really seen God show up in a big way for a lot of guys, and we're going to hear from them today as we have an opportunity. I have them all lined up out here, and they're going to give a chance to share, what God's done through this boot camp here.
I was thinking more because I get to talk to other people than just you and Al and Dennis and Jibs.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it does. No, it does.
It's good. We're in
this is
Davie
an exciting
County this
day.
time.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a beautiful day out, nice and chilly, but sunny, and we're grateful that we don't have any rain right now.
And God showed up just this morning.
Absolutely.
In so many wonderful talks we've heard about sonship and being a son of the Father, it's kind of touching.
Yeah, we've heard about the new name so far this weekend. We've heard about our woundedness. We've heard about posing, larger story, lots of different things.
Have I got my radio pose on? Doing that. Well, let's get right. We got so many wonderful guys to talk to. Let's just jump in. We got Theodore.
Yes, sir.
He is one of several that we've got to hear from the Winston-Salem Rescue Mission.
Yes, sir.
By courtesy of Ken Heater and the guys out there. They let you guys come and join us for the weekend. And Theodore, there's something specific that you've seen God do or heard from God since you've been here this weekend?
Yeah, he opened up my eyes to everything, the things that I didn't know and didn't understand. Now that I understand, because my eyes are open more, the way you guys explain things it's just amazing. And my heart is opened up, and I just love this place. This place, if there's no one out there, excuse me, I'm staged, right?
No, I don't blame you.
If anyone out there needs to come, I need to come and see this place. Yeah, this place is amazing.
It's beautiful out here.
You'll love it. It's quiet. It's restful, and you learn so much from so many people, and it's just a loving environment. And I love to come back if I can.
We'd love to have you come back.
That's what I thought about with Theodore too. We were talking. It's like being in heaven because you people are more open here. You feel God there in their presence. It's a wonderful thing, Theodore.
Yes,
we're so grateful that you joined us.
Thank you.
All right.
Next we have Lee. Now, Lee, you made a short drive up here to come to this boot camp, didn't you? You came all the way from Alabama?
From Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah, down close to Coleman in Alabama. We thought we were going to have about an 8-hour drive, but we had to come through Atlanta. So with the traffic and everything, it was about 9.5 hours getting here.
That's a little bit of a drive.
Yeah, it was, but it was well worth the effort. It truly was. I got to admit to you guys, me being here was really not my idea.
Mm-hmm.
This was my wife's idea. We had an occasion, and she knew that I had kind of started a journey on my own. And I had read Wild at Heart by John Eldredge and really enjoyed it. And I love the ideas that he had in there, along with a lot of the thinking that I had along the way. And so she started researching it, and she found the boot camps. And we researched several. This one worked out best for me. And so she made all the arrangements. Mm-hmm. Now, I'll be honest, truthfully, as it got closer, I really thought, there are a lot of other things I need to be doing. Mm-hmm. I'm busy, or I always see myself as busy. And I thought, God, there are a lot of things I need to be doing other than spending an entire weekend with a bunch of guys up singing Kumbaya. Okay? But
that's next session.
That's the next session, exactly.
Yeah.
But guys, this has been unbelievable. It truly has. It's a wonderful experience. You're up here with a lot of guys that are on the same journey, the same search that you're on. And everybody is a little awkward at first, and then everybody starts to connect, and you start to see that these guys are having the same experiences that you are, and they're on that same journey, they're on that same search, and it's just it's been a wonderful experience. It truly has.
Yeah, we are really, really grateful. And you can hear in Wayne's voice that he belongs on the radio. He was a disc jockey in his younger days.
Oh, wow, God. When we talked about that earlier, I got to thinking about it, made a quick mental calculation, and realized it's been 32 years since I've been on a live mic, so I don't think that even counts anymore.
Let's see, I called him Wayne, Sam, because did you hear your new name? It was Wayne. It's not Lee.
I got that directly from you, Robbie. Directly from you.
Robbie's good at new names. Believe it or not. He does that kind of frequently sometimes.
Now, if he could just let me in on the meaning behind Wayne, we'll be okay.
I think it's facilitator.
Yeah, based upon last session. Now, the cool thing you talked about, Lee, was, you have guys from different ages here. You guys from their teens all the way up through our friend Harold's age. I was hoping he was listening.
Now, my dad is 87.
Oh,
We
yeah.
meant to point that out to you later.
Oh, yeah.
Earlier, that we have somebody here 87.
That's true. So we go from the teens to 87, but the thing is, it's a common search,
Yes.
right? It's the same things that speak to a heart of man that, that they're looking for, and finding that heart of God and learning those change your perspective, understand the deeper truths.
Yeah.
That's really pretty cool.
Very true. One of the things that one of the most valuable things so far, and we're not through the weekend yet, so there's a lot of things to come, but I've always seen God and Jesus as this abstract idea.
Mm-hmm.
Praying was just something that you just kind of did. You went through. That was the way I was brought up. It's something you did.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to see now that in praying, Jesus is sitting, he's right there. He's got a lot of other things going on, but he's right there in my mind now in front of me. He's looking me in the eyes. He's leaning forward, and he's listening to me. He's carrying on a conversation with me. And that's unbelievable.
It changes everything.
It does. It truly does. It really does. It's amazing.
That is so awesome. Well, Lee, Wayne.
Thank you for joining us.
Just an amazing time this morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Willie B., isn't it? Now, the interesting thing about Willie has a he has a twin, also named Willie,
Okay.
but he's Willie B., and your brother's name is Willie L. So, this is Willie L.
No, this is Willie B.
This is, see,
Boy.
I got.
I'll do the names. I'll do the names on this one. How about that? So Willie, what brings you here this weekend?
Let's see. A little nervous here, but
That's okay.
Actually, a chance to actually get to know myself and become the person I'm supposed to be, and I'm getting to know him now. It's pretty cool, though, actually. And I didn't used to write down about my feelings before. Now I do it a lot now, which is pretty cool because now I get a chance to actually get it to come out instead of just thinking about it. So when I get a chance to read over it, I go, there he is. He's right there. So, yeah, I'm enjoying that.
When it's just in your mind only, it gets lost.
Yeah.
Right? Because the next thing comes into your mind and something's forced out, and having it down in writing is key. Now, has God been active for you this week so far?
Yeah, a lot. As a matter of fact, I used to speak to him a lot anyway, but I wasn't paying attention to it. Now I actually hear what he's saying to me, so that's a big plus for me.
And that's always key, and that's what we look for, and that's our for all of us is that we walk out of here a little different place, right? Moving closer to Him and continue to move closer to Him as we move through.
Now we need to get your brother up here.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
That way we would know Willie L. has been here.
That's true. That's true.
Well, Willie, thank you, buddy. We appreciate you.
All right.
It takes courage to get up here and do this, doesn't it?
I'm finding, yeah.
Yeah, that's the adventure that we go on with God. Who'd have thought you were going to be on the radio this weekend? Yeah. We got Jared, and Jared has got just a future. I mean, I'm really excited about what God's doing in Jared's life. He writes poetry and all sorts of stuff. We're going to get him into the station and record some of what now that I've had a chance to hear him. But Jared is the youngest ever be at the Winston-Salem Rescue Mission, right, Jared?
Right. I'm 19, and ever since coming here, I view spirituality from different aspects, from a daily aspect to overall purpose of life, and it's very eye-opening, because a lot of people view it as a vague future type thing, and it's helped me realize that what I do now not only affects me, but it affects others around me, and these have consequences that go on into the future. So even while I'm not here, the repercussions of my walk with God will live on, and it's very eye-opening.
That's a 19-year-old. I wish I had that when I was 19.
Yeah, I'm thinking I need that now. No, so Jared, what's God kind of come after you so far this weekend?
Well, God's helping me realize, whereas before I was like, ooh, I want to preach and change the world. And, during these quiet moments, God has shown me that it's more about reaching the individual, and that sometimes since people have preconceived notions about church or about Christians in general, that if you come to them as an individual walking with God, as opposed to just some, bias, come join my church, that it has a more intimate effect on people. And I feel like what people are looking for isn't just like some robotic do this, don't do this, but someone that they can have an actual conversation and fellowship with. You know what I mean? And I feel like people view God not from the aspect of how he really is, but of how the enemy has perverted our idea of God, you know, and by doing that, he actually pushes people away from God. But when they see someone who has overcome, you know, addiction or abuse, you know, or things that I've overcome, it lets them know that God is actually on their side, you know, and that God's arms are open, but you have to be willing to come to God. And if we're too busy judging people instead of loving them, it pushes them away from what they actually need.
Absolutely. You know, our heart longs for the community, right? That community of intimate relationship. You know, first and foremost with God, but then also with other people that walk along with us. You know, and hopefully that can be found in church, right? But it doesn't have to be in church, right? It can be just in a weekend like this. It can be in everyday life, and it can be in the Band of Brothers group that we have, Robbie, and just so many ways that you can find that community.
Yeah, and you know, feel like there's somebody out there that cares about you with skin on, because it's nice to have God there, but you know, it's nice to have somebody around with skin on that you also feel like would have your back. And that's a big thing. Jared, God, we're excited to have you on. I'm going to have you on my other show, and so we'll look forward to having you on in the future. Thank you so much for doing this. Yeah. And we have Ronald. And Ronald now, I tell you, I was sitting at breakfast with Ronald this morning, and I looked at him and I said, Ronald, how would you like to be on the radio? And Ronald, do you remember your response?
I kind of forgot.
Are you out of your mind? He didn't say that, but that was the look in his eyes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that look. I've had that.
And he kind of indicated that wasn't something that jumped out at him. And I asked him, I said, well, you know, the important thing is, what does God want, right? What has God spoke to you that might impact somebody that would be listening out there? And we're so blessed. You wouldn't believe. And sincerely, we get letters from people who are incarcerated. We get people that are in halfway out. We get letters from people all over the place that this is their outlet on the world. This is where they hear. So somebody listening right now could probably relate to some of what you've gone through. And what would you say to that person that you've experienced from God here this weekend?
Oh, it's been an awesome experience. Inspirational. I felt a closeness, a good fellowship. Like you were saying earlier, I've been inspired by people younger than me, older than me, the same age. You know, to me, it's just a awesome experience. It's a God-filled experience, you know, the message that I received, the fellowship, and having that long time with God, praying, and him giving me answers to questions in my life. It just, you know, just one word for me to sum the whole experience: awesome, you know.
No, Robbie, you should feel good when he said older than me to me and not you. Which I was surprised, but you know, it did happen, so you should feel good about that.
Shocking. You are way off there.
But it is hard to sum up a weekend like this, you know, because God does so many different things.
Exactly.
And, you know, and what I find that's so cool is, you know, I've come back to many of these over the years, either attending or being part of being able to present them, and God has always something new. And that's the thing is, you know, no matter if you're hearing the same message, you're in a different place with God today than you were 6 months ago.
Exactly.
Right? And so you're going to hear things with a different filter. You know, and so the things that you're experiencing this weekend, you know, I'm really hoping will be something that'll be good for you, that will just stick long term, because I know that it's hard to hold on. The world tries to strip those things away, these things that God does on the weekend.
Exactly.
And you know, we talked about an adventure to live and how that requires risk.
Right.
And getting up and getting on the radio is risky business, but it's interesting when you can actually talk about what God's done for you. It brings something that makes you feel good.
Oh yes, and I'm taking it back with me, you know. So I know I'm gonna be a different person when I get back, because God revealed some things to me, and I had the time to reflect back on some things in the past, some things you are afraid to approach. God will give you the courage because you're around everybody, and you realize that, you know, we basically seeking for the same thing, you know, for God to heal our wounds and help us to progress from what we went through in the past. So that's, you know, one word: awesome. That's all I got.
And it does take the courage to go back into those places, because they're not easy to go back into.
Exactly.
You know, and being in a place here where you feel safe, and being where, you know, God's everywhere, obviously, but God's right here, and He's guiding you back into some of those wounded areas or those past experiences, really makes such a big difference to help free you from it.
Oh yes.
God bless you.
Hi, this is Sam with Masculine Journey. I'm here with my son Eli, and we're going to talk about ways that you can help support the ministry. One way, you can go to smile.amazon.com. There's information on our website there on how to do that.
Then you can go to facebook.com where you can click the donate button, or you can go to masculinejourneyradio.org. Once again, look for the donate button.
Or if you want to mail something in, mail it to P.O. Box 550, Kernersville, North Carolina, 27285.
I am William Wallace. You've come to fight as free men, and free men you are. What will you do without freedom?
Find out from Jesus what you will do with that freedom. A 4-day adventure with God. It's a Masculine Journey Radio Boot Camp. Boot Camp is designed to give men permission to be what God designed them to be, passionate warriors for the kingdom. Coming in April the 12th through the 15th. Go to masculinejourneyradio.org to register while you're thinking about it.
And the voice of truth says this is for my glory. Out of all the voices calling out to me, I will choose to listen and believe the voice of truth.
We're so excited that you came. You guys are just made such a addition to the camp, haven't they? The guys from the rescue mission. Thank you, Ronald.
And thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thanks.
yeah.
Dylan,
How are you,
What's up,
sir?
guys? I'm
This is
doing
another
well.
great group of guys we have. These guys are from the North Carolina Boys Academy in Hickory, and Dylan is one of those guys.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I've
And they-
been at the academy for 14 months now, and it's a 15-month program, so I'm really excited to come here as the last part of my program and soak up all the information that I've learned here. One of the takeaways or highlights was yesterday, the Covenant of Silence. I was walking through the woods and just felt that transcending peace that Paul talks about in Philippians, and I was talking to God like he was just right there next to me, and I just was walking and there was a pit, and I thought how I was in a pit myself and how I was brought out of it, and how he directs your steps when you don't lean on your own understanding, but when you lean on his understanding. So,
Do you know that blows me away, that Ground 40 Ministries is based on Psalm 40, which is he pulled me out of the miry pit.
right.
And this was a friend, Guffey, who that psalm ends up meaning everything to him. But in reality, all of us were in the pit. We just didn't realize it was so pity. But we were having a pity party.
I was waiting. I was just waiting on a pun somewhere to come along there. Now, you were also participating in some of the activities yesterday.
Right. My
Yeah.
first time shooting as well.
Yeah, that was a fun time.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, we had a good time out there with a good group of guys. And Gaither, who runs that, Gaither's such a generous person to do all the stuff he does with us. But that was a fun outing. I know a lot of the guys went fishing.
Oh,
yesterday
yeah,
as
I
well.
was out there catching bass.
You were falling
It
all over
was-
yourself. Robbie took a tumble yesterday, if you guys didn't know that, when he was out there. So,
I think one of the talks that we tend to overlook is the one of the war, and how we do have an enemy, and the word says that the word is sharper than any double-edged sword. And what did Jesus use when he was tempted by Satan? He used the word, do not tempt my Lord God. And I think that sometimes when we're tempted, we just want to give in more than we want to fight, and it's so much easier to do that, and it takes practice, and that's something that I've learned over my course of the 14 months is when I go home, it's not going to go away. It's going to be there stronger even, and I have to take that sword. I have to fight the enemy, and not giving him a foothold when I want to help others. I can't just go and do that because they could bring me down, and just hearing that message.
And the neat thing about you guys, and I'm going to bring Jason into the conversation too.
Okay.
So we have Jason. Is it Mark?
This is Mark.
Yes.
Mark,
Well,
you got a new name, too.
You got a new name. I've just named you Jason. We're going to bring Mark, and I should have remembered Mark's my brother's name, and my new brother's name too. But Mark and Dylan, one of the things that this really helped me see is manhood in a different light from a Christian standpoint. What does it mean to be a masculine Christian? And I'm wondering from young guys who come in, what does that mean to you, having sat through this, in your case, a couple times, Dylan?
This is my first time.
Oh,
actually,
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we've both read the book Wild at Heart, and we did a 1-month study on it and personal studies for new Christians. So I have a pretty good understanding on what John Eldredge is talking about. I think that a masculine Christian would be someone who isn't afraid to fight, who isn't going to cower down, who's going to, he's going to want to help others, fellow brothers. He's going to build one another up. And that's my take. Mark, what do you think?
I think that a Christian man is just really strong, because for him to take off that mask and not pose, he's exposing himself to people and his true self. And if people feel like, or he feels like people don't like his true self, it's going to hurt him. But he does not wearing that mask. So it takes masculinity and biblical manhood to do that. So
Wow.
that's what I feel.
And reject passivity as well.
It's been really cool for me at this camp, guys, and you guys have been a big part of it. Your group is starting at the bonfire on Thursday, right? Which is normally just like this meet and greet. You guys are out there, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a special time out there during this time, wasn't it? I mean, as
Yeah.
far as
That's
can you talk a little bit about what that was like?
It was just I knew none of the other guys here, and we got there and we walked in and someone was just sharing about an adventure, an epic one. So then I felt led to step out and just share a little bit of my testimony, and then after that people just started just sharing their testimonies, and then it just turned into a big night of fellowship with people that we didn't even know. Like people from across, like I'm from Michigan, and I'm with people from North Carolina and Alabama, just sharing what God's done in my life. It just brothers in Christ that I get to talk to.
And that's how God works. It's through relationships. And, some people at first were maybe a little bit timid, but the Word says that God did not give us a spirit of timidity. And His Spirit was just unleashed that night. People were communicating with one another. They didn't want to. Some people felt awkward. That was not the case. People were sharing the Word with one another, sharing what God's done, and it was a beautiful thing.
Now, you guys going to play airsoft today?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, shoot at Robbie for me, will you?
I will.
Yeah.
You're not going to play?
Oh, well, I'm going to play. I just want everybody to shoot at you.
We'll get him.
Friendly fire's okay if it's at Robbie.
My own teammate. I mean, I can't believe it. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Airsoft. And we're so glad you guys bring such vibrance to the, it's just wonderful to see those eyes light up out there and see them, seeing God and what's going on here. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, Mark, question for you. How's God come after your heart so far this weekend?
Well, it's really struck me, the wound segment of this conference, because I grew up in a pretty dysfunctional home, and just hearing about the wounds and how, like, you'll put on masks and stuff like that to cover it up, and it just got us exposed so many things that have happened to me. And I forgot who was talking, but they were saying it's not your fault. None of it was your fault, and it just made me think, like, wow, like this really wasn't my fault, and I need to forgive my parents, and I need to let God heal my wound and turn my open wound into scars, so I can use those scars as a testimony for Him.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah, because we do start to carry that as our fault, right? Somehow the enemy convinces us that we played a more active role in some of that than we really did, and that He wasn't involved in it at all. And when we can get the context of understanding that, it allows God to take a place to really take us into that healing that you're talking about, right? Because moving past that just opens our heart up to so much more.
Yes, sir.
It does. Well, thank you. We appreciate it, Mark. Looking forward to hearing you play the guitar tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Oh, I didn't know we were going to get that.
Yeah.
I'm going to check that out. That's going to be awesome.
Thank
That's
you.
Wonderful. Thanks. Well, we really do have Jason with us. Don't we, Jason?
You do.
Please tell me your name's Jason.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't going to say anything until I do for sure.
That is my name.
And Jason is from
Waynesville.
Waynesville. Absolutely.
Now, where's that at?
It's located about 30 minutes west of Asheville,
Oh,
North
okay.
Carolina.
Yeah, I knew I'd heard of it. I just couldn't remember where it was.
Some people know about Maggie Valley.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah.
But Jason has heard from God a lot, actually prior to the boot camp, but it's really been cool to hear some of the insights you've gained as you've spent some time here. Could you share some of the things you've heard from God?
Yeah, one of the main things that I heard from God is that I've been living in defeat, but at the cross we gain the victory, not only in salvation, but in the redemption, the reality of what that redemption is, because I always walked in defeat, but my new name, the Lord, said victory.
You got that today?
Was victory,
Just a little.
yes,
You must
sir.
have had that within the last 40 minutes.
Yes, right
That's
before
awesome.
I came over. And He's told me that He wants me to live in the victory of the cross instead of the defeat of the enemy. Because He says He took at the cross, He made a public spectacle of all principalities and powers and triumphed over them at the cross, stripped them of their power. But I was living pre-cross, even though I was in Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
you're
never
living
heard
in that
anybody.
defeat.
I've never
Yeah.
heard anybody doing that. Have you seen?
Just me and you and a couple other people. But yeah, no, that's awesome.
I
So you
know
got your
that's
name.
beyond awesome, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Victory. I love it.
Yeah. It's a lot better than facilitator. I'm just saying. That's a great name. Man. So when you were out there, how did it feel when God spoke that to you?
Man, I was just like overwhelmed because I was in such defeat. Like, felt like I defeated and failed at so much stuff in my life. And God's like, no, He actually said "son of victory."
Wow.
And began to speak to me about how I would use that and to bring forth that reign in my children's lives and in my wife's life and then to the world.
That is so awesome.
Thank you. Thank you,
so amazing. Yes, Jason. I'm glad that his name actually is Jason. It's very encouraging to me. But we also have Wayne, the Wayne, not the Wayne of the other Wayne, but this Wayne. So Wayne's a many-time boot camper, but we're so glad to have you back, and you're a big part of that bonfire that lit up the whole camp in the first night.
Yeah, it was really awesome how it worked out. I had a totally different plan whenever I first came, and God just showed up in a way that, like He does, like in a complete way that we don't expect, and did an amazing thing there. So.
We just have a few seconds left, but I wonder if you could encourage maybe that one person listening out there why they may want to make it to the April 12th through the 15th boot camp coming up.
Sure. All of us are dealing with something. All of us are struggling with something. Sometimes not even something that we know is there in the background. And coming to an event like this, and I say event, but it really is. It's been an event. I mean, this has been a joyful weekend for me. It helps us to take that next step. You know, some of us may be stuck and looking for a way to get into that next thing, and this is one of the ways that God will do that. He'll draw whatever it is He's called you into out of you during this event. It's really awesome.
That is awesome. I'm looking forward to the next segments. These guys that hadn't been through the boot camp before.
Absolutely.
See what God has in store, and I'm looking forward to what He reveals to us. In the midst of it as well, we got some really cool segments coming up over tonight and through tomorrow.
Yeah, even though it's my fourth event here, I'm still getting worked on. Every time it's something new. He pulls a little something out.
Absolutely, it's part of that journey.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Sam, I almost, we got the room is filled up, and there were so many stories in here, and God has just showed up in so many different ways. It's really, really cool to see, what He brings to these boot camps. We got just about 20 seconds left. I'll let you tell them to go to masculinejourneyradio.org if you want.
Well, you can. You can go to masculinejourneyradio.org. I just heard that. And register for the April boot camp. We actually will have that up on Monday. It's not up yet. We still have this one up. But if you want to go, don't have to delay. Just send us a quick email at sam@masculinejourneyradio.org. Thanks. Have a great week.